Now we are about to go ahead and take up these carpets. Here are the holes that I'll have to patch. They're from the old radiator heating. So they had pipes that went down through the floor and into the basement where they had the boiler. So I'll get a couple of pieces of fir and cut them to match the holes. I'll probably square these holes up a little bit and then cut little pieces to glue in there, and it'll be pretty easy. The other spots that need some attention are these spots where the carpet tightener dug into the wood. That's pretty common. When folks lay carpet over hardwood, you often see these gouges in the fir, in the wood floors, where they dug in with their carpet puller to stretch the carpet tight. So I have to do a little sanding and a little filling if we're gonna have those showing. I have cut this hole out a little bit more square, and I have some blocks of wood that I'm using to get the right height for my final piece, which is this one that I've cut to size. So once I get the backer block in, I'll put this piece in and glue it all together. So I did go down in the basement and I put a backer on and screwed it to the floor so that my pieces now have some support down there. So I'm gonna put some glue in the hole. You can use any kind of glue. This just happened to be some wood glue that I had laying around. Construction adhesive, liquid nails, all of the above are great. So I have these popsicle sticks that I needed to add because it was just a little thin. The new piece of wood was just a little thinner than the floor, and I want it just proud so that I can sand it flush. Just went and picked this bad boy up. We decided to do a refinish on these floors. So I'm gonna use this drum sander first to get the initial top layer of wood up, and then eventually we'll get to an orbiting floor sander and make these things all as nice as they can be. These spots in the middle probably won't ever come out, even with some pretty aggressive sanding. So we'll just do the best we can with what we have. All right, I got the initial cut done. This is with 36 grit with the drum sander, and the floors actually came out really quite nice. I'm pretty pleased with this. A lot of that staining, almost all of that staining is gone, so it came out. I was really surprised that it just came right up without having to hog too much wood up. So now we're gonna be on to 60 grit, and I think these are gonna look really nice. So I'm glad to be at this stage of the project. It took us a whole day to get from sanding to our first coat of finish on the floor. Today, the next morning, I'm gonna go ahead and use the orbital floor sander to give a real light sand at 100 grit to the floor. And then I'm gonna put the last two coats of finish on. So let me show you what it looks like. Overall, I'm really pretty happy with how the floors came out. You can see there's quite a bit of modeling. That's just old fir aged wood. Unless you sand really aggressively, you're not gonna get all of that kind of varied color out of the fir floors. So But overall, there's no really big staining or, you know, huge gouges anywhere. I was able to fill in and sand where the carpet puller came across into some of these long gouges, and so overall I'm really happy with these floors. And then over here on this side, where I put those two little patches in, you know, they kind of just are there. They're just fur patches and they kind of blend in, so I'm totally okay with those. All right, the floors are done. I got the final coat on last night, so we have a total of 3 coats of polyurethane and acrylic polyurethane on the floors. And I'm just pretty happy with how they came out. They have that old, mottled, aged look. It's kind of a tacky, it has a little bit of tack to it, so it has a little grip. It's not perfectly smooth. I stopped sanding at 80 grit, and then the final little buff coat after I had my first coat of polyacrylic on was at 100 grit, just to do a light knockdown of the grain pop, and I really like how it came out.